Hear ye, hear ye. The Honorable James Dillard and the Honorable Coach Bailey Jackson presiding in Fun Fan Court today. We're about to call this session to order. But first, the Fun Fans are a proud part of the Fanboys Fangirls Sports Podcasting Network. If you're a true sports fan, the Fanboys Fangirls is perfect for you. Find various nationwide podcasts and other sports media at thefanboys.com and all forms of social media. Fun Fans Podcast is the official podcast for Clemson fans.
And Ruben's Food, Sports, Spirits, and Catering is the officially known best wings around, with 2 locations in the upstate, 1083 Batesville Road in Greer and 11028 Anderson Road in Piedmont. You can find them at rubensc.com. Rubens is simply a great place to eat for all sports fans, as ruled by this court.
Yes. And also the Fun Fans Podcast is brought to you by Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare Services. At Ivy O'Sullivan, they're more than just chiropractors. Since 1977, this family-owned business located in downtown Spartanburg has been helping people with techniques other than the typical twisting and popping that can sometimes make people nervous about trying a chiropractor. I've been a patient my entire life, and I take my own children there as well. If you have an ache or a pain, give Ivy O'Sullivan Healthcare a try. And if you mention the Fun Fans Podcast, they will donate 100% of your initial evaluation cost to their charity of the month. So call them at 864-583-3967 or find them at ivyosullivan.com to feel better and function at your best. Okay. Court is in session. Well, we're having some judges having a little technical difficulty here. Got to have the microphone on the judge, right?
You have a gavel there?
Well, you know,
it's like a rubber mallet, right?
It's a Fun Fans version.
Okay.
You know, we're a low budget podcast, so
props.
Yeah. So anyway, and I got a notification that something's not working, but it's fine. We're on. It's on like Donkey Kong. So the first item, the first case, Your Honor, Clemson versus the ACC. What evidence do we have for either one of them?
Well, I did some research, and so if I'm not mistaken, Clemson won, or it was favorable. The decision by a judge in South Carolina was favorable for Clemson, yes. But in North Carolina it was not favorable because there was a motion, or it was decided that the ACC headquarters were in Charlotte, and that case should be heard in Charlotte. But then the Pickens County court and the judge there said, no, the ACC does business in South Carolina, so we should hear it in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a legal expert, nor am I a lawyer. However, I am a judge tonight. All right. And thanks to the fact that we had a recent graduate, I have my little judge's robe on. I was really hoping it had like those big floppy arms.
Some more sleeves in it.
Yeah. To me, this is a case, and I'm not, like I said, not an expert. This is more of a federal type case because the ACC operates in multiple states across state lines.
Intrastate.
And that is known as interstate commerce.
Yes.
Okay. So I think it'll probably head to that level. But anyway, I don't. You read it, and I read it, and I read it again, and I still really don't know all the ins and outs. I know the ACC wants Clemson to be responsible for some stuff, for financial stuff. Clemson said this is not a fair deal. However, not to side with the ACC, but to give their point of view, everybody in the ACC signed this agreement.
That is correct.
Okay. But you also should have a way out without it being ridiculous.
Well, yeah, you have a way out, but I don't know that it does not have to be ridiculous. So we're going to rule in favor of neither, because as far as where they're going to end up having this trial, because they're going to end up in a circuit, in a regional circuit court or something, probably. All right. So you heard it here on the Fun Fans.
I would think so. And what it is you're going to have the court in North Carolina decide one thing and a court in South Carolina decide the opposite or the same.
Right.
And then who's in charge here? Like
it's going to end up in a federal court of appeals in like Atlanta or Raleigh or something.
In a judicial stalemate.
Yeah. Well, it'll be heard, and then so as far as like we've already said, I agree with you. They knew what they were getting into, and now that you want out of it, that's fine. But my ruling is if you want out, you're going to have to pay what it takes to get out.
Right.
So,
right. Well,
sorry.
The gavel has dropped.
Yeah. Sorry, Clemson. Get ready.
Hey, and our guy Kevron Harris says, "Good evening, Judge Judy." He must be talking to you.
Yeah, he must be. All right. The next case on the docket, the Big 12 rumors versus reality. So we all know that we all know what the evidence is in cases like this. There's no evidence. It's just people start saying stuff. So Bailey, what's your ruling on?
I think it would be, but that's not going to happen. I think it'll be more realistic that Clemson, Florida State, and maybe one or two more end up in the Big Ten.
All right.
It's all said and done.
Fun Fans Court ruling in favor of reality.
Yes.
All right. The gavel has dropped on that one. All right. This is one that's come up before. This could be fun. Meet at the Paul versus storming the field. And we're treating these as two different things. It's been presented to the court that Meet at the Paul is an organized post-game event at a certain location on the field versus just storming the field. So the evidence for storming the field is there's no evidence for storming the field. It's dangerous. People get hurt and stuff, right?
Yes.
All right.
I think I've been over my feelings on that in detail.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yes.
And I think the Fun Fans, as long as understanding that the definition is that the Meet at the Paul is an organized post-game activity, and we won't get into the details of the organization. We're going to rule in favor of Meet at the Paul.
Now, in my 53-page document that I submitted on this, my opinion, I stated that specific safety requirements and regulations needed to be in place before I would rule favorably in this decision.
And the easy one is wait 60 seconds, or something. It don't have to be a long amount of time.
Right.
All right, very good. All right, we have two more cases this evening. Yeah, two more court cases this evening. All right, balanced conference representation in postseason versus heavy from two conferences. Now, we've been talking about this since the College World Series. There were two conferences represented in the 8 teams in the College World Series. And another little caveat to that was, as the teams were seeded, you started with 64 teams, and they did the regionals and the super regionals, and then you get to the final 8, and they didn't reseed. And and I know that's the normal thing is to not reseed, but I just think that I don't know. I've been trying to think about this. Is it, when we got a 12-team playoff coming up in football now, is it going to be bad? Obviously, it's not going to be bad if your team's one of the teams. Obviously, it's not, you won't care, and which means it'll also be your conference. But is it going to eventually be a bad thing? This is all about money, coverage, eyes on the field, and all this kind of stuff. Is it going to be a bad thing if it gets to the point where we're looking at mostly two conferences in all the postseason?
Interesting. I personally don't have a problem with heavy from two conferences if those are the best 12 teams. It's the process of how you determine who the best 12 teams are,
right,
that I would be more concerned about. I'm going to not have an opinion on this tonight. You're going to have to rule on this.
I think eventually. So this is one of two things. I think the TV is going to make the money. I don't think that will be a problem, but I think there's going to end up being division in college football. There'll start to be calls for, we just need our own league kind of thing. If it gets to the point, and this might take a while, but if it gets to the point where, your team finishes second in their conference and they still don't make it to a 12-team playoff ever, and it's, it turns into that, we've known for a long time that to get into the 4-team playoff in the ACC, you pretty much had to win the conference, and you may definitely help if you went undefeated.
Right.
If you had one loss, it better be a quality loss or something. But I think they're going to make plenty of money, but I think it could hurt college football as a whole, as far as but nobody cares about keeping it the way it is or keeping it the way it has been anyway. So maybe people are okay with it being, to, another level. We have multiple levels, Division I, Division II, whatever. We'll end up having, basically a 2 huge conference. It will be like super conferences or whatever, and that's
Right.
have their own playoffs, and the other conferences will be, we're going to have our own postseason, because this just it's not even funny anymore. Now, that said, you remember when, wasn't it Bama and LSU played in the BCS? So it's when they just picked 2. There were no playoffs,
right?
And they had played each other before. I love football, and I love college football, and I have all the respect in the world for those 2 teams. And I'm not saying they didn't deserve. You could have flipped a coin maybe to get another team in there, maybe, but that kind of took it away as far as the wanting to watch the game for me.
Right.
So I think it could come back and bite the viewership in the butt a little bit, maybe, but probably not to the point where anybody's going to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, and because money talks.
Money talks. And if there's another division with a completely different set of playoffs, then that'll just be more money for, there's a lot of this summer NBA's on TV. I mean, it's summer NBA. It's
right.
like the rookie scrimmages, but it's on TV and they're selling commercials.
The summer league.
Yeah,
James,
summer league.
The summer league.
All right, so we're going to rule in favor of what do you call it when you don't rule, when you put it off to the side? We're going to table that one. Table.
Yeah.
All right, we're tabling that one. All right, this one ought to be fun. So I'm going to bring the evidence, I'm O's versus the Yankees,
Mm-hmm.
and they really kind of have been going at each other. They should have just went to court, but they're throwing at each other. At least that's each team thinks that, and I'm not saying that's not what's happening, because there's got to be numbers.
I'll give you a little background.
Yeah, tell me. Well,
this all started last year.
Well, go back to tell me. People get hit by pitches, quote unquote, all the time. So how do you know when it gets to a point where it's too much?
Listen,
along with the background.
These days, nobody gets hit on purpose. Like 25 years ago, if you hit a home run and you danced around the bases like they do now, some of them, the next time you came up, you were getting one in your ear hole. I mean, I played Legion baseball. We did that. If somebody was running their mouth, we threw at them.
Well, let me ask a question.
That was just part of the game.
But that would have been the same pitcher that had the home run hit off of them, would have been the pitcher doing that, right?
Not necessarily, no. It's a team sport. And if I'm catching, which I did, I had a good memory. Now, what happened is last year, the Orioles were pitching inside, okay? The guys crowd the plate. If you don't get them back off the plate, you're not going to get your changeup away, your curveball away, whatever.
Right.
All right, so you pitch it in, and a couple of guys get hit. All right, well, they weren't hitting them on purpose. The games are too important. The games were not out of hand. They were close games, so you're not going to intentionally hit Aaron Judge.
Okay.
All right, even though he walked like 8 times this weekend because he wasn't going to hit it either, Right. But then Gunnar Henderson, who was the American League Rookie of the Year last year, he gets one thrown basically at his head that misses him, and then they hit him in the next pitch. That is intentional. All right, so the other night, this was it yesterday? Was it? It was
just a couple of days ago.
I think it was.
I think it was day before.
It was Friday night's game. So Baltimore, just to be honest, they've been struggling a little bit. Can't score runs. They've faced some great pitching performances between the Cubs and the Yankees. And Garrett Cole was pitching for the Yankees, and he was outstanding. So they were struggling, and it was frustrating. It was raining. It's the bottom of the 9th inning. The score is 6-1, I think. And Clay Holmes, it's like 4-1. So it's a save opportunity. Clay Holmes, the closer for the Yankees, comes in, and Heston Kjerstad comes up, and the count is 0-2. All right. So this is all evidence for the Yankees. All right. The count's 0-2. They're up 3 runs. They're not trying to walk the leadoff batter in the inning.
Right.
Well, and it's wet. The ball hits Kerstad in his ear hole. Okay. And he goes to the ground. And Brandon Hyde, who is the manager of the Orioles, who I love and I think is awesome, may or may not have been using this as a way to fire his team up. But he starts barking at the pitcher when he's out there checking on his player. And I won't use the words that I heard and saw him use. But so then the pitcher starts jawing back at him. So now you have a manager and a pitcher yelling at each other, getting closer to each other. Then you got the Yankees dugout chirping at Brandon Hyde. And Brandon's like yelling at them bad words, very bad words.
Right.
And so I think it was Nestor Cortez, another one of their starters, who's over there in a hoodie because he didn't pitch that night. He tells him, "You want some of me?" And Hyde's like, "You talking to me?" And so the dude goes, "Come on over here." So there he goes. He's going after it.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I think it's hilarious. Both benches clear. Then you got both bullpens running in from the outfield side by side.
Beside it, yeah.
Why don't they just scuffle out there?
Right there. Yeah, that's right.
But because nobody's going to scuffle.
And it was good. That's good.
Right. And you got guys trying to break it up. And, supposedly Hyde called Boone, the manager for the Yankees, after the game. And, he was maybe trying to get them fired up.
Right.
Because I'm telling you, that rivalry is strong.
It's a good one. Yeah.
It's strong.
All right. So you're in favor of the O's. Okay.
I'm going to, yes, only because I love them.
We're going to set some precedent. And I'm going to say I'm going to set some precedent in hockey. So I'm watching all this and they're showing the clips of the historical background like you were talking about. And when the pitcher hits the batter, the umpire comes out, and just plays his body between
everybody.
Yeah. So I'm going to set precedent that they should follow hockey's rule. And as long as the guys are standing, they're grown. If they're going to start swinging, see if they'll start swinging. But then when they get on the ground, that's when you pick them up. All right. So, but you know what you need to have before you start getting into a brouhaha in any athletic competition?
Energy.
You better have your energy. Go to w.gg and enter promo code FUNFANS for 10% off of your Jitterless energy drink. They have that stuff in cans for you. It's already mixed up. So w.gg, enter promo code FUNFANS for 10% off. All right. Football's right around the corner. We're saying this, but it literally is right around the corner. August 24th, people. We're going to talk about that date in a minute. But we open up against Georgia. The first home game is 8 p.m. So why am I bringing up August 24th? This is a spouse public service announcement. Saturday, August 24th is the last Saturday with no college football until the national championship game. So spouses of college football lovers, you better book that trip to Target.
See you in January.
Or the mountains or whatever it is you want to do on Saturday, August 24th. So you better get it done in a while. And Bailey knows how I am. I'm a planner.
Yeah, you think?
I think I already have a plan for our first tailgate.
I'll rule in favor of that.
That's right. All right. So my family got me a Blackstone for Father's Day. Do you have a Blackstone?
Oh, you bet I do.
Okay.
I'm a master.
So yeah, I'm not a master. It's about
have
too
you seasoned it yet?
Well, we've
done all that.
On it. We cooked on it a
but
good
you
bit.
You heated
actually.
It up. You burnt. You did all that.
Did all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's an ordeal.
Yes, it is. And but I think I can make some sliders easily with that thing, with a full, big old rectangle of the hamburger meat all in one big rectangle, to put on the little things and do the onions and throw it all on there. but I got to do it like, I don't know if it's an 8 o'clock game. I can do it here at the house and package it up and take it. So that's what I'm looking at for the maybe the first one. Bring a bunch of sliders from the Blackstone.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at they have the travel ones.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's nothing but a tabletop griddle, but
Right.
and it's just so like you gotta have cleanup stuff. So and it's hot. I mean it is on fire.
Oh, it's hot.
But yeah, that'd be great when it was cold, man. You could put some pot of chili on that thing.
Yeah, maybe the Blackstone bring a whole nother aspect to the tailgate.
Yep.
All right. So real quick, other things going on. Update on United Row. These ladies are rowing across the Pacific. They're going from California to Hawaii, and they are former Clemson rowers, and they were raising money for the Hear Her Roar initiative at Clemson for women's athletics. And they are 600 and, as of about an hour or so ago, 615 miles to the finish line. It's a 2,800 mile trip. So they are almost done. They're getting it done. So,
but they're tired.
Yeah. Look up United Row, find them on social media and support those ladies and support their cause. Okay. So speaking of just one real quick, not a court decision, but the 12-team playoff. There are automatic bids though, right?
Right.
So who's do you know right off the top of your head?
Well, no, okay. I'd have to look, but I mean, it's not unlike. It's going to be better. I think it's going to be better.
I think it's going to be better too. The conference champions get automatic bid. Is not a certain number per conference. Seems like that's what I heard. Like the SEC is guaranteed at least 3, Big Ten at least 3, ACC 2, Big 12 2, and then they kind of fill it in from there.
Perhaps we'll get that updated for the next show.
Yeah, maybe we need to do it for next show, but that might be what that looks like. And we've talked about the O's a little bit, but and you say they're struggling a little bit, but we talked specifically about them brouhahaing with the Yankees. Is there another update? They've been playing the Padres recently, right?
No, that's
the Braves. Sorry.
So O's are in first place.
Okay.
It's now officially the All-Star break.
Okay.
All right. So you got 5 O's in the All-Star game Tuesday night.
That's
Gunnar
good.
Henderson's in the home run derby Monday night. And so they're on pace to win more games than they did last year, which is awesome. And today they're trying to break a losing streak today against their arch rival, the Yankees. And they go into the top of the ninth. They bring in Craig Kimbrell. He's a Hall of Fame closer. He's like 4th all time in saves, and he gives up a 3-run bomb. Down 2 now, bottom of the ninth. You know what happens? They scored 3.
Look out. Sounds like Clemson.
And I'm not going to go through the details, but the Yankees choked.
Yeah.
They had an error and a misplayed fly ball that won the game. It was awesome.
Hey, it's all about the dub. Yeah, how you get there is secondary to getting that dub. All right, so they're in first place going into the All-Star break. That's very good. Okay, so more announcements. For the second year in a row, the Fun Fans podcast is the official podcast for Wayne Buckingham's and WAB Sports Orange and White Alumni Weekend Fundraiser. It's August 2nd, August 3rd, August 4th, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday is a tailgate party. The 3rd, they'll have some autograph signings and a gala that evening. And on Sunday afternoon, there is a golf tournament I believe it's at Bosco Bell Golf Tournament over there in Pendleton. And this is to raise money for scholarships for Clemson students and also school supplies for Clemson children in the area, public schools in the area. So you can find them on our social media, find their social media, Orange and White Weekend. Look, WAB Sports, Wayne Buckingham. If you search any of that stuff, you can find it. Join us there. Some of this stuff is free. Some of it you buy a seat at the table. Obviously, you pay to enter the golf tournament, but that money is for a good cause. We've played the interview with Cliff Ellis multiple times, and we'll keep playing that as we go through. Sometimes I've been doing that in the midweek, and it's like he says in the interview, he's there. Danny Ford is an opportunity for Clemson fans just like us, just like you, to hang out, rub elbows with Wayne Buckingham, Dale Davis, Eldon Campbell, Perry Tuttle, you know,
Grayson Marshall.
Grayson Marshall's there. So just one thing, Danny Ford. Last year, Levon Kirkland was there. Michael Dean Perry was there last year. I think he's going to be back. So that's going to be awesome. Ricky Sapp's going to be there. So that's going to be fun. So mark your calendar and join us at the Orange and White weekend. All right. Bailey, you got anything else?
No, you did a great job.
I agree. All right. So we hope you enjoyed the show. You heard all the verdicts here on the Fun Fans podcast. There's no need for appeals unless we tabled it. That's not really appeal. Don't forget.
If I was going to be a judge, a television judge, I would be Judge Wapner.
I wouldn't wear these headphones.
No, they don't normally wear those.
Kind of don't match the robe.
Right.
But anyway, don't forget that we're in the 20s.0, and I don't care what's going on in the world. We're going to keep saying that it's a great decade. And let's see each other at the Orange and White weekend in August. Thanks again for checking us out each and every Sunday. Don't forget to click subscribe on the Fun Fans Podcast YouTube channel, as well as your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on all social media, and please share, reach out to become a sponsor on behalf of the Fun Fans Podcast, J Thriller Entertainment, the Fanboys Fangirls Podcast Network, and Bailey Jackson.
I'm going to say one thing.
All right.
No matter what your political viewpoint is, it's time for Americans to be Americans. Okay, we're going to disagree. We're going to argue. You fight with your family members. But in the end, we're all Americans, and we got to keep doing what America does.
Amen. Right? Just in case
Thanks for listening.
We need to the Fun Fan Podcast definitely does not condone the shooting of folks, period.
No, and we're Americans. Go